everybody thinks they're experiencing. I call it the 4 circles of hell. Let's see. Step 1. I see a UFO. That's transport of Astra 3Bs and all the Space Force Semper Super stuff that they've been doing. My parents were in 1969. My dad's draft number was 3. So then bioinformatics and genomics lines you up with vetting, psychic, poltergeist, possession, whatever they can do with your brain. This is the old way of doing it because once we went into the non-invasive neural architecture of N3 and N4, we used neural mesh technology. Your DNA frequency is what broadcasts that biofield. But stay with me, please. This is really important. So the old way of doing it, they had to physically get hold of you. National park disappearances, cryptid interaction, reptar belief, whatever. Why? Wireless tissue engineering and wireless total piezoelectricity control. That's your bone and the vibration it makes, the piezoelectricity. It's the old way of doing it. Why? Hey, I helped build part of the internet, remember? And I was trying to help you understand that hair, skin, and end problem. Yeah, no, really. We went to software-defined networking, and I lose everybody, and they're like, why are you talking about that? Because you're wireless. And everybody right now has a fixed magnet system sitting in their body part, and they didn't tell anybody anything about drone warfare, electromagnetics, nothing. I would know. When I taught in Wisconsin and I opened my office, it's what Synergy.com is. It's still me after all these years. In 1999, I opened my office and worked with the University of Minnesota Pagan Studies Group. They needed people to have something called brain-to-brain interface so they could have synthetic telepathy, nobody else. Structured query language is what backends WordPress. It's also structured query language Hive that uses GitHub style, Hadoop loop, and people upload code playing other humans like Sims. Oh, but they got an app for that. So they still, to this day, will not let people talk about the Havana Syndrome. Are you kidding me? 802.15.4 is Zigbee and Bluetooth, and again, I was in January of 1994. So they used kids. That's what that whole Synergy.com is from 1992 forward. They used children to figure this tech out. They didn't tell anybody nothing. I mean, that panic never happened. It was a hysterical reaction to all the spinal damage. The lack of albumin production. Hang on, I want to show one other slide here, so to speak, before I get to the other part of this. First it was fibromyalgia, it's fake pain, it's always your fault. Then it was pseudotumors and pseudoseizures and lupus, Lou Gehrig's disease and all the autoimmunes. They can never be fixed. It's your immune system. Well, that's amazing. 80% of the immune system is in the human biofield, generated by the oscillation of our DNA structures and all the PHAGE states of our cells. You think they might know that? Yeah, I bet they do. Since 1911 and before, yeah, we've had autonomous drones since 1854. Okay? So then we have fake nano diseases. Oh, actually, they're not fake. World Health Organization, been around since 1654. Yeah, and then cancer, let other people talk about that because they have more information of how it's a big hoax. And then sudden adult death syndrome, heart attacks and strokes are normal, pseudo-heart attack, pseudo-stroke. So Blue Water people know all this stuff. You guys have been through it. So what happened to you, in my opinion, was y'all got sucked up in the original circles of hell, because I come from the original healing touch and therapeutic touch community, and I learned with people in Wisconsin and La Crosse, and I got news for you. A lot of those people from the real harmonic convergence disappeared. I'm still here. And they used that 9-year-old girl submitting to the Journal of the American Medical Association up until this year. Because I watch constantly. I'm like, why won't they update Wikipedia? Now they have. And I'm going to show you why, Blue Water people, that they need you to stay in these circles of hell and never understand that this body part is a body part, because you'll blow them away. So the people that are strong enough to keep this technology off of them suffer with the nano bio internet of things. Yeah, she got a number. Yeah, the 802.15.4 is 2 fixed magnets. You guys call them etheric parasites. Nah. It's just that you're so powerful with your abilities of your own, fighting against this wireless tissue engineering, depending on where you live, the epigenetics of who you're around, than the bouncing the signal back and forth. And the thing is they've got everybody believing it's a broad signal, it's something that you can, shield from. Yeah, they wanted their people to believe that. None of that is real. This is built off the same technology that everything is around us. And the reason for SRA was because they use human tissue, they use you, to route their new internet. And anybody who knew about Disdar's dolls, Russ Disdar, Collins, and the sheriff's departments hiding all this time. They knew this, but they thought, I'm guessing, non-invasive neural technology connected to satellites that never go down. Yeah, they're called Jesuit VAX stations in UW-Whitewater. The University of Wisconsin-Whitewater is one of them. So when I worked there and I ran into different pieces of software, I kept them. Just thought, okay, they were going in the big trash heaps, no big deal. I figured it'd be in my library collecting dust. And then I heard Alex Jones talking about how you better hope you've got an old computer. Well, yeah, because the human body is where the data is. Now, when I can go and find the most recent cryptography, stenography-driven binomial algorithms, I used to do math in binary to subnet data sets for the 2-4 dots when I had to bring it from dial-up to broadband, so spare me, okay? I've had to dig that deep in the binomial algorithm tech, and that's where I finally found that the LOPAN, 6G LOPAN, is personal area network as defined by conductivity of the human body, not this whole, we grab it from around you. No. The science and tech on body area network, which this is wide body area network, 802.15.6, you are the network. And since 2005, you've been battling the swelling. And again, 802.15.4, it's not etheric parasites. The internet, bio-nano internet of things, is pulling the iron and different minerals and chemicals straight up out of your red blood cells right away, just like it's doing right now. But they're talking about it with backwards. I'm a network tech, so I understand exactly what this is because it's got engineering numbers on it. And then I try to help people understand this is engineered. You need to tell them that's a body part, because when they start playing around with the drone warfare here on CONUS, you're going to have people reacting to with their bodies. When we react with our body, it's like this. You can't, there's too many companies involved, so always 2 plus security. Then there's red versus blue plus their security. Then there's NATO. Then there's world oversight on top and with NATO and our NRO and other kind of sortas. Then there's proprietary software that people buy off the shelf and mess with. I'm up to 10 different layers of compression waves, because that's what this takes. You are a sack of water, and there's no consideration for you at all, because you would say, well, hey, give me that remote from my body part. They're not doing that. They sold you to people. Who? Corporations. When? September 10th, 2020, the Artificial Intelligence Symposium presented by our Department of Defense. I encourage you to go read the notes. I took my own on BrinaDawn.com. They are linked there. I went over them a couple times. And now we see on CSER, which is our National Reconnaissance Office news today, I posted, they're still talking about Project Maven. That's because somebody up at the DoD just threw up dirigibles again, I'm sure, knowing that the game is going to be up soon. Because the rods of God and all these things that they were counting on in their Project Echelon are not at their fingertips like they thought they were. The sheriff's departments are dependent on the Disdar dollies. Well, of course, they're flesh networks. And that, one more time, is IEEE 802.15.4, inside the human body, permanent lifetime sensors. SOSA, MOSA. It sounds like drinks, right? No. Sensor open systems architecture, no different than the way we build the internet. Open systems interfaces. So, while you were busy thinking they would never do such a thing, back in 2002 I was doing my job, and I came across this on my friend, and it was remote procedure call. And so what they do is they were putting these sensors in place, because this is 2002. By 2005, it was born. What was? Zigbee. And all the routing protocols and the dynamic channel allocation that goes with it to multiplex their signal through your muscle tissue. Yeah, I said muscle tissue. You mean it's that fenestrated? Of course it is. This is security. This isn't a joke. So yeah, and what you do, and this right here that I've written out, just so we are all clear, this is word for word, letter for letter, exactly what the technical documentation says when you go read. Anybody can go read it. It's public knowledge for the reason that it is electrical engineering. And as you read, you will be allowed to do 3 things. Entertainment applications. The internet is for scorn. gaming, and social networking. And for those of you that think you're going to physically get up and move, you don't know what an electromagnetic is, does, or how it works. That's your biofield. You should talk to somebody who does energy work. They'll let you know. Because that feeling that you think that you thought that you might, that you have, you're not going to be able to get that drone to let go of your electromagnetic field, and it dials you up like it dials a phone. Because you've given your DNA all over the place, and then no one knew, and bioinformatics is an industry where it was going, and it turned out it was all going back to BlackRock like normal. They were alerted of that earlier this year. And the back end of Space Force and Northcom is COM21 cable modems. I don't know about that, but I do know that the MAC addresses on those COM controllers were very different from anything in an inner city, which was given by Cisco equipment as a DOCSIS piece of equipment that was essentially throwaway as a network, which means the cities can rot and burn, nobody cares. So it is my theory that you were at one point stuck in the four circles of hell that never came together because nobody could figure out the connection between cryptids being psychic and UFOs, but nobody could get to the bottom of it. Well, no, not until they had full control down to your bone marrow. Piezoelectricity is how we walk around, and that's what powers green energy in the smart grid. Apollo Neuro in its patent reveals some of the new tech, but people just can't relax anymore. Oh gosh, because it's all your fault? Because it's all your fault? Because it's all your fault, right? Because it's all your fault? Well, it's not like you were being subtly electrocuted all those years. Nope. Then you went and reported Jesuit style to your mental health people, and they're right over top of those same low Earth orbit satellites, and that brings me to the big coup de grace. The underground databases are accessible to all these evil people. So nobody went ahead and took them to task. Nobody took anything away. Then they rolled out, in my opinion, the Q-tarded movement because they want people to keep hanging on and believing that they have control. That mathematics that I just described to you is why I do not believe they have any control. Along with, they're still trying to kill me actively. Our own people and 2 other countries in the last 6 months. Now, I'm nobody. I'm 43. I'm disabled. I'm right here. Why keep that up? Because there's more to this story. It's an interdimensional war, and I'm previously part of that beacon system. And my records are here on Odyssey. You can take a look if you want to. I have no issue with anybody except that I do not believe they're going to apologize to anybody in SRA whatsoever. This is technology. They lied to you. And any of you that are in the super soldier community, in my opinion, if you're still feeding the databases because you're connecting with them, please stop. You should never have a silver cord. Those are D-Wave computers. They're underground. And those plasma cores will subsume humans. The less connectivity, the better. So what's the real problem then? Why am I so upset? Why don't I believe they're going to save us? Why do I think that math is such a problem? Throughout my time, since April of 2022, I had no idea how ridiculously cryptographically this was until I saw a February 2022 article from, I think it's Indonesia, and they were discussing how to hide the social digital ID, certain fields within it. Slicing, network slicing. So, of course, you know, those of us who play video games, Bioshock. Oh, so funny. So 6G low pan, your low energy green power is generated out of the piezoelectricity of you moving around Black Mirror Netflix style. That's real. That's that IEEE 802.14.5. If you can't find it, go through my links, you'll find it. So here it is, right? That pan is a personal area network. She uses your biofield. Yeah, it's electromagnetic in human flesh. That's the new network, yes. So now, what you don't understand, because you're not a network engineer and you're not into math and all that, and you're like, what are you talking about? These nodes, the things that your energy workers have been calling etheric parasites, they feed into the big etheric parasites. They're radio frequency sinks. See, folks, you can't have that whole 802.14.5, or excuse me, 0.6. You can't have this, a wide body area network in which you have all this oversight, the metaverse, the Internet of Things, all this. You can't have it without those. All those little nodes feeding radio frequency sinks in what? Your body part. The biofield is a body part. The biofield is a body part. The biofield is a body part. So now remember all those companies and people and stuff I listed off? They're not telling anybody nothing. They're at war. They are not under control. No. Just like in the 70s. We have a massive learning curve. It basically dipped out and left. They never told anybody nothing. And I don't think the people with N3 architecture, which would, for those of you following along, Kathy O'Brien's daughter, that would be N3. You can't talk. It's down to your bone marrow and you grow with it that way. Whether you're injected or it's done in other ways. So, I got 2 people sitting on the couch. Let's say it's my husband and your child. Okay, whoever you are listening to me. And you and I are in the kitchen and we're chilling. And we have and I have a small little area here. I don't have much, but my little quail and hobby farm and my 2 neighbors. And all of a sudden, you know, your husband or wife comes running in with a radio frequency meter, and they're like, we've got an incoming signal. Because those signals are tailored to your DNA. They're not going to come off the big radio waves and set off the vax and have some big showdown. That's not how it works. So they come in and they're like, we got to find the signal and stop it. This is what people think. Well, I'll go turn off the tower. I'll cut it down. That doesn't stop the signal. The signal is seeking your DNA. It's hunting your human biofield. So I'll jam the satellite that's sending the signal. I'm sorry. And page 1 inside of this book asserts that those autonomous CMOS chips are not able to be accessed. It's part of the Stryker units when they roll through your neighborhood. And that's why I know how this works, because again, I read the binomial algorithm down to every single command that it uses with every single phrase and every single JOULE of power and energy out of your bones using piezoelectricity. Amen. They're autonomous. That's what it says. And that's what they are. Project Salus, my parents saw it in 1969, but that's what was running all this COVID stuff, and in the Artificial Intelligence Symposium. Data science, they said. Project Salus, what have we learned? So, do you remember that your husband, or excuse me, my husband and your kid are sitting on the couch, those 2 people, right? And the RF people jam the satellite, and then they run out there and cut off the tower, but the signal's still coming, and so they go to track it, and they're over there by the couch, and they're like, it's coming from here. Yeah, it's coming from the biofield of my husband and your child, so shut it off. How? Stop their DNA. Well, there's only one way to do that, and it's a little more than double tap, isn't it? That's what you're looking at here. That's why 802.15.4 is a permanent set of biosensor magnets, so that the little Twitter twits thought it would be, so that they could offer everybody the metaverse. Well, it is. It is. But they don't understand how it works. They think we're killing the planet. They have no idea that geoengineering is finished in 2025 and that none of these plans have been interrupted. They're marching forward lockstep. Everybody's too busy wrapped up in stupid crap and Alex Jones and then whining and not doing anything about any of this. Paternoster, Prius, and Cheli Santa, Couture, Nomen, Tutin, Rovia, Regnum, Tutin, Fiat, Voluntas, Tui.